In a university dorm, Ethan's lust for his girlfriend's roommate, Chloe, ignites a betrayal right next to his girlfriend. Can this forbidden night of guilt and honesty save their relationship? Uncover this scandalous tale of seduction and redemption. It was the summer after my junior year at UC San Diego, that sticky, sun-drenched stretch where the campus felt like a ghost town. Most students had bolted for home, but me and my girlfriend, Sophie, stayed behind for a grad school prep course. We were both 21, ambitious, and maybe a little too serious about our futures. Sophie was my rock, petite, maybe 5 feet 2 inches, with a warm smile and curves that filled out her sundresses just right. We'd been together since freshman year, when I spotted her at orientation, all nervous energy and bright eyes, and knew she was the one. We rented a cramped apartment off campus in La Jolla, a short walk from the beach, but Sophie was weird about staying there too often. Her dorm roommate, Chloe, was still around, and Sophie didn't want her suspecting we were sneaking off every night to, well, let's just say enjoy each other's company. Chloe was in our class, a friend Sophie had known since day one. Back then, I barely noticed her, tall, maybe 5 feet 5 inches, always in baggy sweaters and glasses, blending into the background. But sophomore year, Chloe ditched the glasses for contacts, started wearing tank tops and shorts that hugged her figure, and holy hell, it was like she'd transformed into someone else. Her curves, let's just say they were impossible to ignore, filled out a D-cup like nobody's business, and her legs, long and toned, caught every guy's eye when she strutted across campus in heels. Her hair, now cropped to her shoulders, framed a face that was all sharp cheekbones and sparkling eyes. I'd catch myself staring, then feel a pang of guilt. Sophie was gorgeous, loyal, everything I wanted. But Chloe? She was a temptation I didn't know how to handle. I tried to keep it cool. Sophie and I were solid. Our nights together were electric, full of laughter and moments that left us both breathless. We'd find quiet corners of campus after dark, stealing kisses under palm trees or sneaking into empty lecture halls for, private study sessions. Sophie was shy in public, all prim and proper, but with me, she let loose in ways that made my head spin. Still, Chloe was always there, lingering in the back of my mind. I'd see her in the dorm, leaning over to grab something, her tank top dipping just enough to make my pulse race. I'd shake it off, tell myself it was just a dumb crush. But man, it was hard to ignore. One night, around 10 p.m., the air thick with summer heat, I was sprawled on Sophie's dorm bed, the two of us debating where to crash. Back to the apartment? I asked, my hand brushing her arm. She sighed, her dark hair spilling over the pillow. We were there last night, Ethan. Chloe's gonna know something's up if I'm never here. I groaned, the ache in me growing. Babe, I'm dying here. Can't we just, you know? Sophie laughed, swatting me. Fine, stay here then. But you're sneaking out after, okay? Chloe's out with her high school friends, probably won't be back till midnight. My heart skipped. The dorm? With Chloe nearby? I pushed the thought down, focusing on Sophie's grin. Deal, I said, and we headed to her room. The dorm was a typical UCSD setup. 4 beds on stilts, desks and wardrobes crammed below, a tiny bathroom off the balcony. Sophie's bed was tucked against the wall, a curtain half drawn for privacy. We slipped inside, the campus quiet except for the distant hum of crickets. Sophie locked the door, giggling as we tiptoed to the bathroom for a quick shower. The water was cool against the summer heat, and I couldn't help but pull her close, her laughter echoing off the tiles. Not here, she whispered, pushing me away with a playful smirk. It's bad for you in the shower. I grumbled but complied, my anticipation simmering as we dried off and climbed into her bed. Under the covers, the dorm felt like our own little world. Sophie's sundress hit the floor, and I followed suit, our clothes a tangled pile. Her skin was warm, her breath quickening as my hands found her waist, tracing the lines I knew so well. Shoo, I murmured against her ear, my fingers brushing her skin, igniting sparks. We're in the dorm, babe. She nodded, biting her lip, her hands roaming my chest as we moved together, a quiet rhythm of whispers and sighs. The bed creaked softly, the only sound in the stillness, and I lost myself in her warmth, her scent, the way she arched into me. It was intense, familiar, but tonight felt different, like the air was charged with something unspoken. We were caught in the moment, the world fading, when the door creaked open. My heart stopped. Sophie froze, pulling the blanket tight. "Chloe," she whispered, her voice barely audible. Light spilled into the room as Chloe flicked on the switch, her silhouette framed in the doorway. "Well, damn," she said, her voice teasing. "2 pairs of shoes by the door? Y'all aren't subtle." She laughed, kicking off her heels and heading to the bathroom, her movements casual, like she hadn't just walked in on us. Sophie buried her face in my shoulder, mortified. "This is your fault," she hissed. I chuckled, trying to play it cool, but my pulse was racing for a different reason. Chloe was back early, dressed to kill, black heels, sheer tights, a low-cut top that clung to her curves. She stood at her desk, maybe 2 feet from Sophie's bed, tying her hair into a messy bun. I couldn't look away. Her movements were effortless, each shift of her hips a quiet taunt. When she bent to peel off her tights, the fabric sliding down her legs, my breath caught. Sophie, sensing my tension, squeezed my arm, thinking I was just nervous about being caught. "Pretend we're asleep," she whispered, curling closer. I nodded, but my eyes were glued to Chloe, who was now slipping off her top, revealing a lacy bra that did little to hide her figure. Guilt stabbed me, but so did something else, a reckless heat I couldn't shake. Chloe glanced our way, her eyes catching mine for a split second. Did she know I was watching? She didn't say anything, just climbed into her bed across the room, leaving the blanket off. The dim light from a street lamp outside cast shadows across her, and I forced myself to look away, focusing on Sophie's steady breathing. But my mind was racing. Chloe was right there, a temptation I'd been dodging for months. Sophie's hand rested on my chest, grounding me, but the air felt thick, like a storm was brewing. I tried to focus, to let the moment pass. Sophie was asleep now, her soft snores filling the silence. I should have been content, but my thoughts kept drifting to Chloe. Her bed was so close, her presence a magnet pulling at me. I told myself to stop, to think of Sophie, our life, our plans. But the dorm was too quiet, the night too warm. I slipped out of bed, careful not to wake Sophie, and padded to the balcony for some air. The campus was dark, the stars hidden behind clouds. I lit a cigarette. Sophie hated when I smoked, but she was out cold, and leaned against the railing, trying to clear my head. That's when I heard it, soft footsteps. Chloe stepped onto the balcony, wearing nothing but a thin tank top and underwear, her hair loose around her shoulders. She didn't look surprised to see me. "Couldn't sleep?" she asked, her voice low, almost a whisper. I nodded, my throat tight. She leaned against the railing, inches away, her silhouette a quiet challenge in the dark. "You and Sophie looked cozy," she said, a hint of a smile playing on her lips. My cigarette burned down, forgotten. "Yeah," I managed, my voice rough. "She's everything." Chloe tilted her head, her eyes searching mine. "Everything, huh?" The words hung between us, heavy with meaning. I should have walked away, gone back to Sophie's bed, but my feet stayed planted. Chloe stepped closer, her arm brushing mine, and the air crackled with something dangerous. "Your trouble, Ethan," she murmured, her breath warm against my ear. My heart pounded, a mix of guilt and desire tearing me apart. I thought of Sophie, asleep just feet away, and the life we'd built. But Chloe was here now, her presence like a flame I couldn't resist. She moved first, her hand grazing my wrist, a touch that sent sparks through me. "We shouldn't," I whispered, but it was weak, more a question than a statement. Chloe's lips curved, not quite a smile. "Then tell me to stop," she said, her voice a dare. I didn't. I couldn't. The balcony faded, the night swallowing us as we leaned into each other, a stolen moment that felt like a betrayal even before it began. Her touch was electric, her closeness a temptation I'd been fighting too long. The dorm was silent, Sophie's breathing steady in the distance, but here, it was just us, caught in a reckless pull. It happened fast, a blur of whispers and shadows. Chloe's tank top hit the floor, my hands finding her waist, her skin warm under my fingers. It wasn't about love, it was need, raw and urgent, a secret carved in the dark. The balcony railing pressed against us, the night air heavy with salt and sin. Every touch was a question, every sigh an answer, and I let myself drown in it, knowing I'd pay for it later. Guilt was there, clawing at me, but so was the thrill, a wildfire I couldn't put out. When it was over, we stood there, breathless, the reality crashing in. Chloe pulled back, her eyes unreadable. "Go back to her," she said, her voice soft but firm. I nodded, guilt flooding me like a cold tide. I slipped back into Sophie's bed, her warmth a stark contrast to the chaos in my head. She stirred, mumbling my name, and I held her tighter, hating myself. Chloe was across the room, her bed silent, like nothing had happened. But everything had changed. Morning came too soon, the sun slicing through the dorm window. I left before Sophie woke, muttering something about needing to study. The campus felt different, the palm trees and ocean breeze mocking my unease. I couldn't look at Sophie the same way, not with Chloe's touch burned into me. Days passed, and the tension grew. Chloe acted normal, joking with Sophie like always, but her glances at me held a secret we couldn't unshare. I avoided her, sticking close to Sophie, trying to bury it. But guilt has a way of surfacing. One night, over pizza at our apartment, I broke. Sophie was laughing about something, her eyes bright, and I couldn't hold it in. "Soph, I messed up," I said, my voice shaking. She froze, her slice halfway to her mouth. I told her everything, Chloe, the balcony, the betrayal. Her face crumpled, tears welling, but she didn't yell. "Why?" she whispered, and I had no good answer. We talked for hours, raw and honest, her pain cutting deeper than I'd imagined. She didn't leave me, though I deserved it. Instead, she said, "We can fix this, Ethan. But you have to want it too." We started counseling, not because we were broken, but because we wanted to be whole again. It wasn't easy. Every session peeled back layers of hurt, trust, and fear. Chloe faded from our lives, transferring to another dorm, her presence a ghost I learned to let go. Sophie and I rebuilt, step by step, finding strength in the choice to stay. One night, walking along La Jolla shores, the waves crashing under a starry sky, Sophie took my hand. "We're not perfect," she said, "but we're us." And that was enough.